Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt. In this video, we're going to talk about how to start paying yourself first in 2019 and 2020. Now, saving money sounds really boring, right? It sounds like a drag. To most people, this is a very boring thing. But I think paying yourself a profit or paying yourself sounds more interesting, right? And this is exactly the way you have to think about paying yourself first. If you want to start paying yourself first, you have to think about it this way. You're paying yourself a profit in order to invest in your future life, to give yourself a wealthier, even healthier life in the future. And when you look at the whole concept of saving money, there's still a lot of people that struggle with, just saving money at the end of the month. Even though there are so many tools out there and apps that help you do this, people still struggle with this. So it is a very fundamental problem that I think has to be addressed. Now, in my own personal opinion, I really think that the whole concept of paying yourself first should actually be taught in schools, maybe even in elementary schools at an early age, because it is essentially what you do when you get your first paycheck or when you get your first job. What do you do with your money? Nobody really teaches you this in school, right? You're kind of left to just figure it out as you get older, and then you have to go do your own research, do your own learning online, or let's say reading a book. Teachers aren't going to give you this information in school, at least not right now and not when I went to school. So here it is. This is how to pay yourself first, and this is one of the most golden rules of personal finance. As soon as you get your paycheck, no matter what it is, if it's from a job, whatever it is that you do to earn a living, you as your own boss, and this is the way you have to think about it, you have to take about 15 to 20%, even 10% if that's too much, right? At least start at 10%, but you have to take about 15 to 20%, and then you have to think about yourself again as an employee, right? That 15 to 20% is actually paying the employee part of you. And you will set this aside first before any sort of expenses, rent, entertainment, anything that you have to pay for on a monthly basis. This is before any of that, right? You have to think about this first. It comes at the very beginning. And now you can really just look at that concept and say, yeah, you're just saving money, right? That's all you're doing. But the fundamental shift in your head has to come from, I'm actually making money, right? Because when you have that shift in mindset, then you're actually thinking, I'm taking this money that I earned and I'm paying myself first, even my future self, right? Now again, this is such a huge golden rule of personal finance. And again, I believe it should be taught in schools. It is so fundamental. And if you read any sort of personal finance books and you pick up a book at the library or whatever, even if you get audiobooks, you'll hear about paying yourself first. In fact, I believe it's one of the main lessons in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So this is definitely something that you need to learn and kind of think about as early as possible, right? Because sometimes people don't even know or think about this until it's too late. Maybe they hit their late 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and people don't even have enough money to save at the end of the month, and they don't think about this. So to kind of summarize it for you again, when you get your paycheck, take about 10, 15, 20% and put it away first. Put it in a savings account. Just put it somewhere else where you can't access it. And then once you really start building up that amount of money after months, maybe even years, then you could actually look at investing that money, right? I made a whole video on investing 101 for beginners, why you should start investing. But I even think that paying yourself first and just saving money at the end of the month, that's step one, right? If you can't even save money, you can't invest, right? You have to have money at the end of the month to invest money. So if you want to check out that video on Investing 101, I will link it up here for you guys. I appreciate if you check that out after watching this video. Now, tools that can kind of help you pay yourself first. I actually use a bank here in Canada called Tangerine, and Tangerine has this really cool feature. It's actually called Recipes. It's kind of like a new thing they implemented in their website or their service. Recipes is essentially a little feature they started with their bank, and one of the recipes is actually called Pay Yourself First. It's literally called that. And then you essentially can pick the account that you get paid in, let's say your checking account, your main checking account, and then when it senses that you actually got a payroll deposit or an employment check or whatever, you can actually dedicate a certain percentage of that to go into a separate account, let's say a savings account. and then you can set it at 10, 15, 20%, 5%, even more if you want. But then it automatically does that for you. You don't even have to think about it. If you can use these tools that can create less friction for you and just automate it, it just creates such a simpler process for you, right? And it makes it so easy from the beginning. And the reason I really love it is honestly just for convenience. It's something that I had to do manually for a few years. And then once they brought it in, I was like, this is amazing. I don't even think any other banks in Canada have this. So I'll link more information about Tangerine recipes down below, but it is such a cool feature and I've been loving it. So if you guys want to check it out, if you have any questions about it, let me know in the comment section. One thing you can also do as well is, let's say you have a separate savings account, let's say even at a different bank, you could actually set up an automatic transfer. And typically I think most banks can do this, where you can set aside, a certain amount, let's say $100, $300, $200, whatever. Let's say that's 10, 20% of your paycheck. Then you can actually automatically at the first of every month, let's say, move that money to the other bank account and just let that kind of just do its thing month after month after month. It's essentially the same thing, right? It's not exactly like the recipes feature at Tangerine. It's kind of normal at this point for most online banks to do this. But to kind of put a whole cap on this, at the end of the day, personal finance and getting better with money, it all starts with step one, or kind of the whole process and the whole beginning of starting to save money. Whatever you can save at the end of the month, that's the beginning of the whole journey, right? And if you can do that and start that even as small as possible, then you can work your way up and snowball it, right? Then you can start saving and you'll see the savings kind of build on top of each other in the savings account. And then you can look at investing and doing other things. But it really starts with saving. There's so many topics I can kind of go into with this, like budgeting and how to kind of think about spending and how to look at spending. Paying yourself first, I think it's one of those golden rules really that it should be taught universally, I think, by now. It's really the only way to start getting on financial stability and on a better track to success. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. It'll help me kind of push this video to a new audience so they can kind of look at and enjoy for themselves. I'd really appreciate it. I'm super excited to be making all these videos just because I have such a deep passion for them and I really love them. So appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching this. Of course, subscribe for more videos in the future. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.